This is a Sky News World Special with me, Yalda Hakim, live from Jerusalem. Tonight, hopes for a possible ceasefire in Gaza, nearly 2 years after the Hamas October the 7th attack, and the Israeli military response, which has claimed thousands of lives.
They've been fighting for a plan for years. We get the hostages back almost immediately. Negotiations are going on right now, will probably take a couple of days, and people are very happy about it.
Airstrikes and tank fire continue to pound Gaza as the Israeli government says its military will continue to act for defensive purposes. Israel and Hamas prepare for indirect negotiations in Egypt on the 20-point proposal to bring an end to the war. Inside the war zone, our Middle East correspondent reports from a devastated Gaza suburb as Palestinians hope for an end to the fighting. Relatives of Israeli hostages gathered tonight in Tel Aviv say they're counting on President Trump to help secure the release of all those still held by Hamas. Good evening from Jerusalem. I'm Yalda Hakim, and it's here where there are hopes there could be a ceasefire in Gaza. Nearly 2 years after the October the 7th attack, when Hamas led a coordinated attack on Israel from Gaza, killing nearly 1,200 people and taking more than 200 people hostage. Israel's military response since then has been devastating, with more than 67,000 Palestinians killed, according to the Gaza Health Ministry. Indirect negotiations between Israel and Hamas will begin tomorrow in Sharm el-Sheikh, with the discussions expected to focus on the proposed exchange of Israeli hostages for Palestinian prisoners held by Israel. Egypt's foreign ministry said tonight that President Trump's special envoy Steve Witkoff will also join the talks. Now, the White House has released a map that gives us an idea of what the peace plan would mean for Gaza on the ground. Currently, the Israeli military has designated around 80% of the enclave in what it calls a dangerous combat zone. Israel has said it has agreed to this initial withdrawal line where they would pull back Israeli forces and prepare for a hostage release. During this time, all military operations in Gaza would be suspended. This withdrawal would leave around 55% of Gaza in a combat zone. Our international correspondent Alex Rossi has our first report tonight from Tel Aviv, and a warning: his report does contain some distressing images.
A ceasefire may be close, but the misery of this war in Gaza is still unrelenting. Shadi Mansour carries the body of his son, killed when their residential block was targeted by Israeli bombardments. As he staggers across the rubble, under the weight of grief, you can hear the ever-present whine of a drone overhead.
As you can see, the targets of the Israeli army are not resistance fighters or so-called militants, as they claim. They are children. This is Amir, my son. I had him at age 40. Tell me, does he look like a fighter? Is he a militant? The truth is, the army's targets are children.
Israel claims it only attacks military targets and denies accusations of genocide. This video, released by the IDF, claims to show forces engaging Hamas fighters in Khan Yunis, the militants moving through what's described as a humanitarian zone before they are struck by a missile. The war in Gaza has raged for nearly 2 years, but there is now significant momentum to bring it to a close. The United States believes the hostages could be back soon.
We have very little, we don't need flexibility because everybody's pretty much agreed to it, but there'll always be some changes. But the Hamas plan, I tell you, it's amazing. You're going to have peace, if you think about it, peace in the Middle East for the first time in, they say, really, 3,000 years.
The 20-point peace plan's been accepted by Israel, and Hamas has also conditionally agreed. On the surface, there is optimism and a willingness to engage with Trump's vision for ending the war. Both Hamas and Israel are under enormous pressure to stay on board with the process. But there is still plenty that could go wrong, many obstacles to overcome when the negotiations begin in Egypt. Israel has also made clear that there will not be much room for negotiation.
in an agreement with the Trump administration, talks will be confined to a few days maximum, with no tolerance for maneuvers that will delay talks.
For the hostage families, these are anxious hours as they wait to find out if their loved ones are coming home.
I wish I would have known why President Trump didn't put his foot down far earlier to end this war. I think that he is incredibly significant in getting to the point where we are. And I would say he has leverage that nobody else has.
The devastation and pain that this war has brought is simply horrific. An end to the fighting may soon be within grasp, but for the moment, the suffering continues.
Allahu Akbar.
Alex Rossi, Sky News, Jerusalem.
Well, joining us now live from Washington is Fred Fleitz, former Chief of Staff of the United States National Security Council under President Trump. Thank you very much, Mr. Fleitz, for joining us here on the programme. I'm currently in Jerusalem, and it does feel like there is momentum starting to build up. There is cautious optimism here about this plan and this peace deal.
I think it's a remarkable plan. Trump is putting pressure on both sides to compromise. The U.S. has actually made some compromises in recognizing that there will one day be a two-state solution when Israel's security concerns are resolved. That was a huge point of contention for the Arab states. Trump got the Arab states, the Palestinian Authority on board. Now we have to get Hamas on board. And I'm not sure Hamas is there. I'm worried they have not agreed to the most important aspects of this deal. But there's a lot of pressure on them because they have nowhere to go now because the whole Arab world is for this deal.
Yeah, I mean, when they initially sort of said yes, the world looked at that as a yes, but. And it does feel like they've almost split their thinking into two. The first being, let's deal with the current situation, and that is the release of the hostages, ceasefire, aid into Gaza. And the second part of it is the future of Gaza, what the day after would look like, who would govern it, and the big question about whether Hamas would disarm.
No, I think they said no. They did not agree to disarm. They did not agree to give up their weapons. They were critical of the international force in the region. Without these concessions, there's not going to be a deal. Israel will continue fighting Hamas. This is an enormous opportunity for Gaza, for the Palestinians in Gaza. Israel's going to withdraw from 45%.
So sorry, Mr. Fleitz, can I just interrupt you there? You don't believe they said yes? Even though President Trump is saying they did say yes, they've agreed.
I believe this was a clever no.
Help us understand that.
Okay, basically, they did not agree to disarm. They did not agree to give up their weapons. They did not agree to the international force. They criticized it. They want to have a role in running Gaza after a peace agreement, which Israel will never agree to. What they did do was to dress up their response by saying they're going to release the hostages, so Israel and the U.S. will be blamed for backing out of this agreement when it's Hamas who has not agreed to the agreement, at least not so far. The negotiations have not ended. Trump and Israel are giving Hamas an opportunity, but Hamas has to agree to this deal.
I mean, as you say, it doesn't feel like Hamas has too many cards, frankly, if any, at this stage, given the devastation of Gaza, 67,000 people dead over the course of the last 2 years. We're still waiting for well over 24 hostages who are alive to be returned. What do you think President Trump is latching onto then when he says Hamas has agreed? It's a big yes from Bibi. And we are seeing these sorts of leaks about Benjamin Netanyahu coming out from the White House.
Let's note those figures you're quoting are from Hamas, and they're propaganda figures. I don't think the figures are that large. I think this is a hard deal for Netanyahu to accept because it contemplates a role for the Palestinian Authority in administering the Gaza Strip in the future. It says there'll be a pathway to a Palestinian state. These are things that Israelis do not want to think about after the October 7th massacre, but they were necessary to get all parties on board with the understanding that they won't happen until Israel's security concerns are resolved, the most important of which is the Palestinians have to de-radicalize.
Well, you've sort of given it a blanket Palestinians have to de-radicalise. I think we need to make a distinction between Hamas and the Palestinian people. But are you saying, Mr. Fleitz, that President Trump is being fooled here?
Well, I mean, the Palestinian Authority was still doing the pay-to-slay payments, giving payments to Palestinians who committed acts of terror against Israelis. So we can't simply say that this is Hamas. We know that in Palestinian schools, the children are taught to hate Jews and to basically destroy the state of Israel. This has to stop. Teaching young people to kill from the time they're children leads them to hate when they're adults. This
Mr. Flight, you're making a sweeping sort of remarks about an entire population. But can I just get you to focus on the question that I'm asking? If I can just ask you, President Trump has said they're saying yes, Hamas is saying yes, but he's focused on the yes. Do you believe he's being fooled in this moment?
I think President Trump is a brilliant deal maker. He's a statesman. And I can say things as an analyst he can't say. He's not going to give up on this agreement. He's leaving the door open to negotiations. So we can take different interpretations of this. And, in the end, I hope the outcome is as positive as President Trump thinks it's going to be.
OK, we're going to have to leave it there. Mr. Fleitz, thanks very much for your time.
Good to be here.
Well, let's speak now to our Middle East correspondent, Adam Parsons, who joins me here live now. And Adam, you've spent the last few days in Gaza. We had there someone who was from the National Security Council, formerly of Donald Trump, questioning the death toll, questioning whether all of Palestinians are Hamas or not. Before I talk about the team that Benjamin Netanyahu is sending out there, I know you've talked about it a fair bit in the last 24 hours, but just talk to us about the devastation that you saw in Gaza.
Extraordinary, Yalda. I mean, it's unlike anything I've seen before. The only comparison I can make is nothing to do with the war. It was attending an earthquake and seeing a town in Morocco where a chunk of mountain had slid down and just pulverized everything in its path. But to drive through Gaza is to see that scene repeated again and again. And it's something that's been done by people, not by nature. This is bombing, shelling, destruction on it's more than an industrial scale. It's just constant. So as we came from the border, you saw again this landscape of devastation. And then I got into the south of Gaza City, and it's an eerie place because there were no Palestinians for a start. They had all been moved out, but there were no trees, there were no animals, there were no birds. So when there are breaks in the noise of the military, and that's very loud, armored personnel carriers and tanks, gunfire, explosions, you get these moments of rather unsettling silence. But yes, we did go in there. There are rare opportunities to get in to see Gaza. These are things that the global media have pushed for over the past 2 years. The IDF, the Israeli military, is in control when you go in. They tell you where you can go, what you can see, how long you can be there. They will say that is for the case because it's a highly dangerous environment. Also, of course, they took us to a place where there were no Palestinians, so we didn't get a chance to talk to civilians. But what I would say is the things you do see, the things you do pick up are worthwhile because they are very, very sobering.
Well, let's have a look at that piece that you did, Adam.
We're on our way into a broken land. Beyond these gates, everything changes because as we pass this fence, we're in Gaza and in a war zone. We're here with the Israeli military. It is the only way journalists can gain any access to Gaza, so they decide where we go and what we see. But what we witness is staggering. Around us, the devastation is obvious and undeniable. Whatever these buildings were, they are now ruins. It's like an earthquake has rippled and never stopped. How can you rebuild this? We're now entering a very active combat zone, so we switch vehicles. So we've seen the devastation between the border of Gaza and that drop-off point. We've now transferred into the armoured personnel carrier. It's noisy, it's very dusty, but this is what is taking us towards Gaza City. Inside we are sealed away. We track our progress using the vehicle's cameras, glimpses of destruction, until we arrive. The door opens, revealing the town of Tel El Hawa in the battered south of Gaza City. Once an affluent suburb, it has been pounded for the past week. At its heart is this, the Jordanian hospital. The IDF claims this was used by dozens of Hamas fighters, a claim that Jordan denies emphatically. Israel's military told us they had left this site untouched for fear of hurting the patients inside, and it's now been evacuated. From this vantage point, I spoke to Soldier A, insistent that despite the huge death toll in Gaza, Israel does try to protect civilians while war rages.
First of all, you can see with your own eyes, the hospital is untouched. We don't touch it, we don't fire at it, because we know that there are civilians there that Hamas is using. So you can see it with your own eyes. We're not doing it. We need to fight, right? We have to fight, and we do everything to keep the civilians safe.
The noise of war is everywhere. Just 2 miles from where I was standing, our colleagues on the ground filmed these attacks in other Gaza City suburbs, in places where people are still living, the places that haven't yet been abandoned. But in Tel El Hawa, there is no one. What you see a lot of here are military machines, soldiers, devastation and destruction. What you see very little of, in fact nothing of, are the locals, the Gazans, the people who used to live here, the ghosts of this town. You see a few leftover bits, like this, a bunch of fake flowers left in the rubble. The Gaza Health Ministry says more than 67,000 people have been killed since this war began nearly 2 years ago. A UN commission says that what's happening here in Gaza is genocide, an accusation I put to the IDF.
It's atrocious. Genocide has intent. Of course there's mistakes, the IDF is determined, but genocide entails intent, and there's no intent of genocide. We're doing everything we can. Listen, we have to fight Hamas. What alternative do we have, Adam? We've got no alternative. We have to obliterate this organization after what they did.
It is time to leave Gaza City. Around us, the machinery rolls in. The fighting continues. The shell casings on our vehicle testament to past battles. But officials tell us Hamas is now a diminished force.
It's obvious that Israel's military hardware massively overpowers Hamas. But what's becoming clear is that Israel also believes that Hamas is a hugely depleted fighting unit, relying on guerrilla tactics and young conscripts.
We head back to the border, and there is a huge explosion on the horizon. In this cursed place, peace seems a distant dream. Adam Parsons, Sky News, Gaza.
Well, tonight, President Trump is marking the 250th anniversary of the US Navy joining a celebration at a naval station in Norfolk in Virginia. You can hear President Trump speaking there to the naval forces from just a little earlier today. But of course, we did also hear from President Trump talking about Gaza as he was making his way here earlier, talking about how optimistic he is about this deal and about the future of the Middle East. Let's just have a listen in.
And let me say to all of the incredible sailors on this pier, it's great to be with the fleet, And let's also give a very special thanks to the shipmates who put on that spectacular display of Navy dominance. And that's what it was dominance. And bravo, Zulu. You know what that is? Bravo, Zulu. You know, a lot of people don't. That it's a true honor to be here with the thousands of our nation's finest sailors at the largest naval facility in the entire world. It's the largest, and I would say more importantly, it's the best, okay? It's both the Norfolk Naval Base. Thank you very much. The largest, and it's the best. We're gathered on this storied waterfront to celebrate 250 years of strength, tenacity, and unwavering courage by the greatest fighting force even, and that's true, no matter where you go, no matter where you go, no matter what you even think about, there's nothing like the fighting force that we have. Roam the seas, it's called the United States Navy, and there's nothing in the world like it. Nothing, not even close. You read stories, they don't have it. Let me tell you, we check it closely. We check it closely. Docked beside us today are a combined 150,000 tons of pure American naval supremacy, and two colossal reasons why no one should ever want to start a fight with the USA. They won't fight. We're putting out a lot of fights, so do you see that? We're going to be close to number 8. Number 8. We don't want to send you into battle unless it's necessary, right? We're putting out a lot of fires. Maybe some of you will be angry. You'll say, what's he doing? We want to fight. You know what? If we can solve them the way I'm solving them, we solve 7. We have another one that's taken 3,000 years, and we're pretty close, but I don't want to talk about it until it's done. But let's give a big round of applause to the men and women of the majestic USS Kearsarge.
Well, you were just listening there to President Trump. He was marking the Navy's 250th anniversary by joining that celebration at a naval station in Norfolk in Virginia. Earlier in the day, he'd spoken about the situation in Gaza, which you saw in our report earlier. And we can also report that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has held a lengthy discussion this evening to prepare the Israeli-Palestinian peace team for their departure to Egypt. They're going to Sharm el-Sheikh, where negotiations with the mediators will take place. And in the last few minutes, Hamas has said that their delegation has just arrived in Egypt too. Let's bring in our US correspondent, Martha Kellner. Martha, good to see you. I was just looking at some images of President Trump speaking at the anniversary of that celebration of 250 years of the Navy. But momentum is starting to pick up. There are those who are being pessimistic about this. There are those who are cautiously optimistic. It certainly feels like Donald Trump is trying to say there is no time here. There isn't time for weeks of negotiations or, frankly, days of negotiations is what we're hearing. That they are saying we need to get this deal underway as soon as possible. Both teams, one team, I understand the Hamas team are there in Sharm el-Sheikh already, and the Israeli team will be leaving tomorrow.
Yeah, the way the White House are selling this at the moment, Yalda, is that it's just a case of crossing the T's and dotting the I's now. Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, said that this deal is 90% done. He said that it's now just a case of finalising the logistics of the hostages and prisoner exchange. And, you know, Benjamin Netanyahu may be presenting this emerging deal as partly his, but I think it's very clear that it's Donald Trump that's calling the shots here. This is his 20-point plan, and it's his timeline too, before he departed for that event, that 250 years to celebrate of the US Navy. He spoke to reporters briefly about this deal. He said it's a great deal for Israel, it's a great deal for the Arab world, and it's a great deal for the world in general. So very much talking up the potential for this to be done. And as you say, he's saying, you know, these negotiations can't last several weeks. They can't even last several days, he says. He thinks that this deal can get done in a couple of days of negotiations over in Egypt. And it's clear that he's strong-armed Benjamin Netanyahu. He's been publicly heaping pressure on him. Donald Trump did an interview with Axios News website, and he relayed the conversation that he said he had with Netanyahu. He said he told him, Bibi, this is your chance for victory. He was fine with it, Donald Trump said. He's got to be fine with it. He has no choice. With me, you've got to be fine. So I think that pretty much sums up who is pulling the levers here. It's not Benjamin Netanyahu, it's very much Donald Trump. He also reportedly said to Netanyahu, I don't know why you're always so negative. This is a win. Take it. So heaping pressure on him publicly, but privately behind the scenes as well. Donald Trump also telling CNN that Hamas will face complete obliteration, in his words, if it refuses to give up on its power in Gaza.
Martha, thank you so much for that update. You're watching The World with me, Yalda Hakim. Lots more to come up on the programme. Families of those still being held by Hamas look forward to their release after being held hostage for nearly 2 years.
We arrive. A secret hospital hidden in the Myanmar jungle, treating the victims of this bloody war. This is Myanmar today. Its military rulers don't want the world to see, but we have.
I fight for my own future. I fight for my generation's future.
This is an actual crime.
They don't care for that.
Myanmar army is only a couple of kilometers away. So this is a major humanitarian disaster.
I want to start the programme today with a name, a story that I can't get out of my head. The campaign has now started. This is your chance. Tell people. This is the politics hub. It's not correct. The tax burden is projected to go up.
No, but
I'm not. This is my interview. Look, this is ridiculous.
No one does care about us.
I'm really interested in that. On the politics hub, we like to push the boundaries. He's got the majority. The question is, what is he going to do with it?
I witnessed the complete destruction of a place linked to my childhood memories.
This is insane.
I'm Yusra Al-Bagher, Sky's Africa correspondent based in Johannesburg, South Africa. I felt awe when we saw the mountain gorillas in Rwanda.
We call him the king of the jungle. This is the alpha silverback.
Sky News, get the full story first.
Welcome back to The World with me, Yalda Hakim, here in Jerusalem. The terms for a potential ceasefire in Gaza would require Hamas to release the remaining 48 Israeli hostages. 20 of them are still believed to be alive within 3 days. The Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said he believed it could be announced in the coming week. Well, joining us now is Efrat Machikawa, a member of the Hostage Forum, of whom 6 relatives were held captive by Hamas. 5 of them have been released and 1 murdered. Efrat, thank you so much for joining us here on the programme. It must be such a sort of nerve-wracking moment for all the hostage families. I know that 5 members of your family were returned. 1 was killed by Hamas, 6 members in total taken. But over the course of the last 2 years, I also know that all the hostage families, whether they received their loved ones back or not, have become incredibly close in this process.
It's quite incredible. You know, we in the Mediterranean are very close and very expressive to one another. And I have to say that more than ever, we as hostage families became one big community, and we do support each other. There isn't any manual or any research that was ever done on such an atrocity. And the community is actually being a major foundation to all of us, to hold us together through this terrible time and horrific wait for all the hostages to come back and the war to end, I have to add, please.
Yes, we're just looking at images of you with, I believe, your uncle being reunited, an emotional moment that so many others still waiting for their loved ones are hoping to be able to make, and they're hoping that this week will be the week.
Yes, you know, it's so hard to express the worry before the actual hug, and how much energy is released, and the relief of actually seeing that Gadi is back with us. When he hugged me, he actually said, "I'm okay, I'm normal." And I think he knew that we were so afraid after 480 days of his status. And I do want to say that now, knowing that President Trump sees the urgency, he's very determined and making a real plan, understanding it's not only about the humanitarian crisis, it's also about the stability of our region. We all hope that all the families will have some kind of a closure, so the living will be able to be hugged like we had the right to do, and we had the opportunity to have the opportunity, and that all the deceased will have a proper burial. It's so important that everyone will have a closure. Israel is still bleeding. We're all wounded, and our society, in order to continue from now on, and also to continue towards a better future with our neighbors, that I still believe we can.
Yes.
We need this closure.
Efrat, there is pressure on the ground mounting as well. Many of the hostage families, the hostage community, as you've described them, have been out on the streets with the rest of the Israeli population. You know, well over 100,000 or more people in the last 24 hours. Will that continue until you see the hostages released? Is that a way of putting pressure on Benjamin Netanyahu and his government to make sure that this deal is reached?
Yes. You know, my parents, 85 and 87 years old, were protesting last night with us out in the streets. We were over 200,000 people gathering in one place, calling for the end of the war and the immediate release of the hostages. We cannot talk to other governments or other partners, but we can talk to our own government. And we also talk to President Trump, because he seems to be the responsible one now, and he seems to understand, and we're very, very grateful for the deal, talking to all the Arab countries around us that are part of this region and are so important. And we do hope that no leaders and no one will sabotage this plan. People should understand that they need to hold on now and to make sure that this is happening, because enough is enough. The Israeli population, more than 80% of us, want the end of the war and the immediate release of the hostages. This first step will bring the region into a balanced situation. I believe that we could talk about future, what comes next, without terror being threatening what is happening here, both on the Israeli side and the Palestinian side. We need to heal. We're not people of revenge. We want life to prevail.
Efrat, it's been such a pleasure talking to you this evening, and we hope all the hostages are released and this war comes to an end. So there is, as you say, comfort on both sides. Thank you so much for joining us.
Let's hope that everyone that takes part in this negotiation knows that the duty is to bring everything to an end. The better, the faster, the better. We want everybody to be back and to see the end of the horrific war. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Efrat. And as we were saying in the last few minutes, I talked about the fact that a Hamas delegation had arrived in Egypt. They've now released put out a press release, and they said that a delegation headed by Dr. Khalil al-Hayya, head of the Hamas movement in the Gaza Strip, arrived in Egypt to begin negotiations for a ceasefire, the withdrawal of, they've described it, occupation forces, and a prisoner exchange, which will also include the release of the hostages. As we've also been reporting in the last half an hour, Benjamin Netanyahu's office has said that he has held lengthy discussions this evening to prepare the Israeli-Palestinian peace team for their departure to Sharm el-Sheikh, where negotiations with the mediators will take place. So the Israeli team will arrive there tomorrow, and we understand that the Hamas delegation has arrived in Egypt this evening. This is The World with me, Yalda Hakim. Next up on the programme, our data and forensics team look at Palestinian rebel groups who could exploit a potential power vacuum in Gaza.
I'm Dominic Waghorn, Sky's International Affairs Editor, covering a world that seems to be unravelling.
It's not his country, it's ours.
Sky News, the full story first, free wherever you get your news. It's half an hour now past the deadline that Hamas issued, and we've now seen a third barrage of rockets coming in.
Welcome back to The World with me, Yalda Hakim, live here in Jerusalem. Now, under the proposed Gaza peace deal, once Israeli troops withdraw and Hamas disarms, an international security force would be deployed and the territory would be placed under international governance, with President Trump and former British Prime Minister Tony Blair overseeing it. If Hamas loses its influence there, our concerns other factions could exploit any potential power vacuum. A Sky News investigation has found Israel is allowing a Palestinian rebel group in Gaza with extremist ties and a history of looting aid trucks to smuggling cash, guns and cars. Our data and forensics team has been tracing the movement of Yasser Abu Shabab. He's the head of a former looting gang to whom several militia have sworn allegiance. Our Middle East correspondent Adam Parsons reports.
In a world of misery, welcome to a land of plenty. Fresh food, fancy villas, luxury cars. All this bling and excess is being flaunted on social media by an Israeli-backed militia based in southern Gaza. So where does all this money come from? Meet Yasser Abu Shabab, a Palestinian fugitive who heads the Popular Forces, an armed group in Gaza that opposes Hamas. Experts say Israel is bolstering local groups like this to divide and conquer, to create disunity among the Palestinians and to maintain some control in Gaza, whatever its future. The story of Abu Shabab starts here, his compound seemingly untouched by the war that's raged for 2 years. This video, also taken from the compound, shows the surrounding area of Rafah, now reduced to rubble and entirely controlled by the Israeli military. It was shot here, on the edge of Abu Shabab's camp. To the east is the Morad Corridor, a major artery for IDF movements. To its north is the Salah al-Din Road, the main route for the movement of aid trucks via the Kerem Shalom crossing. And that has become the main entry point for all aid since the Israeli military took control of Rafah in May 2024. So what do Popular Forces want? In an exclusive interview with Sky News, a founding member of the group revealed they want total control of Gaza.
Everything. We want to run everything. Everything that concerns our Palestinian people and what will benefit the Palestinian people.
What we've been told is that many goods coming through here end up in the hands of Abu Shabab and his Popular Forces group, including weapons, luxury items, and a slice of aid. These boxes, filmed at Abu Shabab's camp, stamped with the logo of the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, a venture set up by Israel and America to distribute aid to Gazans. In a statement, GHF said, GHF is proud to serve communities throughout Gaza via our community distribution programme. We believe every Gazan deserves to be fed with dignity, including those in areas controlled by the Popular Forces. This is Sami, an Israeli soldier who serves at the Kerem Shalom crossing. He spoke on condition of anonymity.
The thing is that we're against Hamas and they're against Hamas. Israel started giving him things to help him. It was cars, vehicles, weapons, food, money.
A senior leader of the Popular Forces claimed in our interview that for any of these supplies to enter Gaza, a request had to be made to the Palestinian Authority and various other Arab states, and then passed on to a coordinating body that liaises directly with Israel. We asked for responses to those claims but received no reply, and Sky could not independently verify them. The IDF commander we spoke to told us the Popular Forces members now number up to 3,000 men across Gaza. We approached Popular Forces for comment, but received no reply, and Sky News was not able to independently verify these claims.
One of the reasons that Israel has been using these proxies, which I have not mentioned, is to mask its legal responsibility and to be able to say it was not us that was doing the crime, but al-Shabaab.
The IDF told us it would not comment on our claims. Blasts, bombs and bullets have turned Gaza into a chaotic land of fear and uncertainty. Abu Shabaab and the Popular Forces think they are the people to restore order here, with Israel's help. Adam Parsons, Sky News, Jerusalem.
This is The World with me, Yalda Hakim. Next up on the programme, what does the future hold for Gaza? Given the scale of destruction and the human cost of war, we'll be talking to a Gazan photojournalist.
Our app gives you the very best of Sky News wherever you are. Breaking news, videos and analysis.
Evidence of the crisis.
Podcasts, watching us live.
I'm live in Jerusalem.
Wherever you get your podcast.
All in one place and all at just the touch of a screen. The Sky News app. Get the full story first.
To the left, to the left.
I will always remember the atmosphere at the Shanghai protests. It was an electric mix of excitement, fear and defiance, and a sense that history was being made.
Liberation Day.
By popular demand,
wow.
Here we are.
Donald Trump. It is quite the story. Wherever it goes, on Trump 100, we go with it.
Can you tell us who you're looking for?
Unbelievable we've come to this.
Are you overstating the reach and significance of this deal?
Not like you said it.
From the UK.
Why don't you go back to your country where you have a major migrant problem?
It was 10 feet from him, and all of a sudden the shots rang out.
People impacted.
I'll tell you on another day on the podcast what that was all about.
Join us wherever you get your podcast.
We're trying to see as much as we can.
We start with breaking news.
I am Anna Botting.
It's been quite some day.
The golden age of America begins right now.
A long-awaited ceasefire is now underway.
First question, Sky News.
Congratulations, this is a huge moment.
Describe this feeling. It's incredible.
Now to California.
The Democratic mayor of Los Angeles cut the fire department budget.
Do you owe citizens an apology? Have you nothing to say today?
Jane Secker, Sky News. Would you like to respond to us now?
I've never seen anything like this.
Beth Rigby, Sky News.
In principle, would you agree to do that?
Criticism of you, the president, is banned. How is this a fair election?
Historic day here today.
The cameras are poised here, there, everywhere, waiting to see what the president might do next.
I gave you the A+ treatment. Thank you. Thank you all.
I'm Dominic Waghorn, Sky's International Affairs Editor, covering a world that seems to be unravelling. War, unrest, revolution. And it's our job to try to make sense of it all.
We arrive. A secret hospital hidden in the Myanmar jungle, treating the victims of this bloody war. This is Myanmar today. Its military rulers don't want the world to see, but we have.
I fight for my own future. I fight for my generation's futures.
This is an actual crime.
They don't care for that.
Myanmar army is only a couple of kilometres away.
So this is a major humanitarian disaster.
I want to start the programme today with a name, a story that I can't get out of my head. The campaign has now started.
This is your chance. Tell people.
This is the politics hub. It's not correct. The tax burden is projected to go up.
No, I am talking about
no, but I'm not. This is my interview. Look, this is ridiculous.
No one does care about us.
I'm really interested in that. On the politics hub, we like to push the boundaries. He's got the majority. The question is, what is he going to do with it?
Welcome back to The World with me, Yalda Hakim, live here in Jerusalem. Now, the future for Gaza could be determined in the next few days if a deal can be reached with Israel halting its military offensive and withdrawing from much of the territory. Hamas would give up its power and disarm, allowing an influx of humanitarian aid and eventual reconstruction. Well, Motaz Azeza, a Gazan photojournalist, joins us now. Motaz, it's good to talk to you. We've talked to you at different points in this conflict, but I just want to get a sense of your mood and what you're thinking in this moment where this potential peace deal could actually come together.
So hi, Yalda. Thank you for having me again and again and again. I see you in Jerusalem, so I wish one day we could see you there. I wish I could one day go to my home, my country, to visit Jerusalem. So the people have some hope, let's say, in Gaza, and they are hopefully waiting for a progress to touch it on the ground. But unfortunately, after even the US President Donald Trump ordered and announced about the deal and ordered Israel to stop the bombing, they didn't. Just because I'm at the US time, but in Gaza from yesterday, there was more than 70 people got killed by Israeli airstrike and Israeli snipers and jet fighters. So we have some hope, but Israel is demanding security for themselves. But even with the time that they have the power, we don't have any power to face their power. They called and they asked for security, and the time that the whole world is waiting to establish peace underground, they keep killing Palestinians. So we are the ones who need security.
Motaz, you're speaking to family and friends, those who I know that you've lost many family and friends, that they've been killed or they've left the Gaza Strip. But the ones and the people you're talking to, what are they saying about the situation on the ground? And especially if they think this might be the moment where the bombs might stop and there might be peace.
They ask me questions like, Motaz, do you think you have hope? Are you sure that this is going to happen? We don't feel anything on the ground till now, but they are expecting products to enter. They are waiting for food. They're asking to send more water trucks, as I do daily. They don't see it as the world is watching it. They are living what is happening. So when you are all the news channels say that it's done, there's no more airstrikes, but they are under airstrikes. So I don't think we should believe the news. I believe my people, and I see, because I'm connected to the people directly, and I see what they post, what they talk about, and I get my news from them. So I believe my people don't believe the news.
We've got some of your images from Gaza. We're just going to put them up on the screen. We're looking at some of the devastation, but also some of the people trapped under the rubble, lying within the rubble. Some of the images we're looking at now. I mean, it's been, frankly, like a horror for the last 2 years, these images of Palestinians that we've seen trapped under the rubble, the number of children who have been killed. Just give us a sense of your emotion over the course of the last 2 years, because you were forced to evacuate, but you continued to document what was happening there.
So yeah, at the time we were watching these pictures, this girl who trapped under the rubble and a lot of people trying to get her out, she was texting me, Motaz, there's any hope to get me out, to be evacuated, to get a treatment, because her brain is broken and then her nerves are she don't feel anything. So at the same time, you are talking to me and asking me and showing this picture. Shams, her name is Shams. She asking me for a hope to get her evacuated, so she can get treatment. So everyone is thinking about life. They want to get a hope for life. I continued traveling the world after I evacuated from Gaza, because I didn't want to lose my life in an airstrike or in a sniper shot or artillery fire, because I believe in the power that I had through the people, the masses who follow me and believed in me, that I can shift and transfer this to a hope on the ground. So this is what I'm doing right now, and hopefully in the coming days, weeks, years, we could do more and more on the ground when I go back to Gaza.
Motaz, always good to talk to you. Thank you very much for joining us here on the programme.
Thanks so much.
You were just listening to a Palestinian photographer from Gaza showing us the images of the devastation in Gaza over the course of the last 2 years. 67,000 people are believed to have been killed as a result of the Israeli bombardment and the fighting that has raged in Gaza. And of course, 20 or so hostages still remain in Gaza. Their families here tonight, hoping against hope that they will be released. They are demanding that from their government. We understand a Hamas delegation has arrived in Egypt. An Israeli delegation will be there tomorrow. For now, good night.